do with Africa,
Yeah.
and especially when we are mentioning China, for example. Yeah. I know one of the factors or one of the issues to do with population. And if you just come to Africa, you have almost we are almost approaching 1 billion, population. And the unification, say for example, and especially you have the 3 series of you have unified 3 series. Now, bring together African nation. Otherwise, the idea of Kwame Nkrumah by then, I don't know whether Nyerere was almost complying with that.
Yeah.
What is your position?
I have also written a book on population too. That's called The Future Post-Demographics. In that book, I argue that having a large population is not necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily good. It depends on how you deal with that. Look at China. China has a huge population. And then it turns out it's good for them. But in the meantime, they also try to control the population. Now, the Chinese population has been started to decline more and more. Now, they relax the population control. Now, the people can have two children. In fact, they are thinking to abandon all population control soon. Okay? Yeah. Why? Because the Chinese population is aging now. And they predict that in another 30 years or 40, whatever, the Chinese population will decline further, and then that's bad for the economy. The working population will be less and less and less, and it was then they have to support a more and more aging population. So the same thing about Africa. A huge population can be good if you can take advantage of what they call the demographic dividend. The demographic dividend is that you have a younger population, you have more workers that can work and contribute. If the government can come up with some good program, just like the Chinese did, the Chinese government in the last 40 years also have been very clever and very effective in managing the economy in such a way that they can take advantage of cheap labor. That's why Chinese goods are so cheap. American goods are so expensive. And that's why when the U.S. now have a trade deficit with China, why? Because our workers, they get paid so much. The average American salary nowadays is $40,000 to $50,000 per year. The Chinese worker on average you are lucky if you earn even 10,000. Think about it. That's why when you get paid so much, by the time you finish working, you sell this product, the price of this product will be 3 or 4 times more expensive than someone else. Many of the Chinese workers earn only about $1, $2 sometimes per hour. How can you compete with someone who earns $16 or $17 per hour in America? How can you compete? That's why the Chinese government has been very clever in taking advantage of the tremendous population in China, the cheap labor. That's why the Chinese goods are so cheap. Now, as they become more developed, the prices will go up. The cheap prices are no longer cheap anymore. Now, Vietnam, India, Mexico are competing now with China to enter the market because now they are coming up now. So the Chinese economy now is moving up to the ladder, to the next stage of development. Now they focus more on value added goods and services. Now they go into high tech. In about 10 years, in fact, the Chinese government planned that by 2025, by 2030, the Chinese economy will be dominant in robotics, in space industry, in aerospace and all that, in nanotechnology and all that. They are moving now to the next stage of development. When I was in Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya and all that, sometimes I go to different villages. I saw all these tribes. And I learned about the history. Before the European came, this tribe, they lived together more or less like this. And then the European come in and say, okay, this is Portuguese, this is British, and this is whatever, the French. And then the maximum after generations, this tribe, they used to be together. Now they learn Spanish or, Portuguese or French, and this one learn English. Now they become different countries, different tribes. Now they thought this is the legacy. But on top of that, I think that, as I said before, stop thinking about China or Europe and then think about yourself again. So you have to stop thinking, how can I copy China now? Or how can I copy America? How can I copy Europe? Think about you.
Dr. Peter Diop, from the United States with new ideas. I would rather see them as if they are like revelations for the next generation, whereby we talk about the post-democracy world and the post-capitalism world, that there will be new ideas and new isms, if not new belief or new way of doing things all over the world in terms of the economy, the politics, the region and the relations all over the world. But what really has touched me is to do with avoiding copying too much of the ideas, or too much of the systems, the way of life, and relations, so as to be in one or another, standing on our own heels, be original, and think the way we just can persevere in development intricacies. Thank you very much for watching us. This is a Maarifa program. Next time we have to invite Dr. Diop. I don't know when time comes, and if I will be there. And if I will be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.